Okay, guys. Just let me get the confirmation that, sir, it is recording. आ गया. Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, anyways, so it's my first stream, so of course, uh, that can happen. So, anyways, everyone, I'm Divyang Khandelwal from Division Math Academy, and as you can see the faces that we are not really good at streaming, but we are going to start with that. So, let me introduce three of my students. So, the first one is Daksh Anjaria from GIS. Say hi.
Hi.
The second one is Dia Bagla from TISB,
Hi.
Bangalore, but she's from Udaipur. Okay, and the third one is Ishan Gyanani, and he is from Pune, and he's from Indus. Okay, yeah, I got a message from Dhruv. Okay, fine. Hello, pleasant music. What is that? Anyways, so we are gonna start with this thing called cryptocurrencies. Okay, so my question to Daksh is first. So, what did you understand about cryptocurrency or digital currency, as you said? So, what do you know about it?
So cryptocurrency, I what I think is basically a online not money transfer but an online currency which is used in place of like normal currency, but it has a higher value.
Has a higher value. No, value depends on transactions. Okay, Dia, what about you? You tell me.
Yeah, that it's a form of digital transaction of money. So it's basically like digital form of cash.
Okay, okay, no problem. Ishan, you want to add something?
They pretty much covered it all.
Okay, okay, no problem. So, anyways, first of all, before starting this system, like, before understanding this cryptocurrency, let's start about this thing called currency. Okay, now currency is what? So, currency means what? Dollar, rupees, all these things are basically currency, right? But the thing is, if we go back to the time, like let's say 700 BC or something like that. So, what was the system we used for exchanging?
But
Trade.
Barter system.
Exactly. The name is barter system. Now, what is that system?
that you basically give one of your possessions to someone in exchange of their possessions.
Correct, correct. So basically, you have to give something to take something. So basically, it was just exchange of goods. That was barter system. Now after that, it was not feasible. Like every time you're not gonna take rice. Like for example, if you just produce rice and you're just gonna give rice to everything. So that's why they came up with a currency. But before that, it was gold. Gold nowadays also it's a standard form of currency. You can say like gold can be exchanged anywhere. Okay, so basically gold right now is the main currency, you can say, not currency but sort of exchange thing. Okay, so right now gold is the one. Now the thing is, we need to understand the system right now, what is happening and what may happen because of this technology. Okay, so first of all, let's start with this thing that for example, right now you have some money in your account. So let's say you have 50,000. Okay, and you want to give that money. So let's say a person wants to give that money to B, and let's say he needs to put 20,000, like he needs to give 20,000 to that person. Okay, so if he is giving that, what is the procedure which is happening? So let's assume that he has his money in HDFC Bank. Okay, let me know if you are facing, like if there is any slight doubt as well. Okay, now what is happening that HDF, you have 50,000 in your HDFC Bank account right now. Can you feel that 50,000 rupees?
No, it's not physically with us if it's in a bank account.
Yeah, it's actually a number, right? Can you get that 50,000? Like you have this 50,000, or it's just a number? It's just a number, right?
Yeah.
It's just a number. But the thing is, what HDFC Bank is doing from your 50,000 account in your bank, tomorrow itself you're not going to take out those 50,000, right? You will store it for a lot of a lot of time, maybe until and unless you buy something. Maybe if you want to buy something, you will buy for 10, 20,000. So the thing is, you have this 30,000 rupees which can be used by bank anyhow without your permission, in short. So basically, what is happening? This 30,000, they may give it to somebody else as a loan, and on that they will charge interest, and that's how bank makes money. Did you understand this thing? Like basically, you possess that 50,000, you own that 50,000, but your bank is using. But on the other hand, you can say like that also, that my 50,000 is safe with the bank. But nowadays, you never know that if, PNB and all these banks, Yes Bank, all these things, they were doing all these things, and because of that, they got bankrupt. So that was the situation. But your 50,000 is being used by the bank without your permission. Okay. But on the other hand, HDFC Bank is related to RBI. You know RBI?
Yeah, Reserve Bank of India.
Right.
Right.
So even if you take a note of 100 rupees or whatever, so there is written that I promised this money to somebody else, right? So basically that's the format. So basically it is derived from RBI. Like RBI is printing money in short, right? So HDFC Bank is connected to RBI, or we can say financial institutions in other countries. So RBI is one of it, right? So they are going through RBI, and they have to follow those regulations. Now I'm talking about these regulations which are very important. Okay, regulations are very important. Just think about that, like just note it, regulations. Okay, so these regulations are very important, which RBI gives, or the guidelines you can say. Okay, and through that you transfer the money to somebody else. Okay, now this system is known as centralized system. That means what? You are not directly dealing with the person whom you want to give money. You are going through somebody, you are going through bank. Okay, you are going through financial institution, you are going through government. So that is known as your centralized system. Okay, but now let's say we are A, B, C, D people. Okay, the thing is, I was about to take your initials, but right now, as I can see, Daksh, Dia, Divyang, and only Ishan is there with I. So of course that's a difference. So right now let's consider A, B, C, D. Now let's assume that we went for a dinner or something like that. Okay, and then let's say that the bill was 1,000 rupees, and let's say B paid the bill. Okay, then what will happen? We will split the amount, and 250, 250, 250 will be the contribution, you can say, and he has to give that, these three people have to give it to B. Okay, just to make the transaction. Now for these transaction, do you really need a centralized system?
Yeah.
Right? And on what basis do you really think that ABCD, like we four are working on what we are working on? I want that keyword, something like that, which is related. Like, see, we four are splitting. Like, basically, let's say I am paying the bill, but I know three of you will pay me back. Now, what is that thing which you think like that, which will come into the picture?
Trust.
What will come? Exactly. The trust. Now, that is the most important thing. Trust. So basically, I am trusting you guys are trusting me, and on the trust basis we are figuring out that everything is fine. Okay, so that's trust which we have already built, and that we are using for this thing, for this transaction basically. So it's all about trust. Now when it comes to A to B, that times we are trusting whom? Centralized system.
Bank of India.
RBI, HDFC, government, all these things we are trusting, right? But among us, we are trusting whom? We are trusting each other, right? We know we don't need a centralized system for that trusting. Now the concept of cryptocurrency is based on this thing only. So here, I'll come to that trust thing later, but cryptocurrency is based on this theory that if you trust each other, you can go about it. But here we are only transacting with 4 people, right? The transaction is made only with respect to 4 people. But what if there are 4 crore people? Then you cannot trust all the people, right? Obviously, you don't even know those people, right? You cannot trust. So whom you should trust? Now that trust is basically the mathematics. Here, you're not going to trust any person, you're not going to trust any government, you're not going to trust any bank or something. Whom you're going to trust? You're going to trust mathematics behind this technology of cryptocurrency. Now that's the beauty of cryptocurrency. Okay, now let's get back to this example of ABCD. Okay, so here again I'll take ABCD. Now let's learn this system in a better way. Now that was just a restaurant example, it was just one transaction. Now for example, there are many transactions we are making within a month. A pays B, B pays D, D pays C, C pays A, A pays D, again like this, all these chains are happening. The thing is, what we will do, how to, how to make it better. So what we will do, whenever a transaction is happening, that time what we will do, like for example, A gives B, let's say 100 rupees. Okay? So this transaction, we will note. We'll just type it down. Okay? Let's say we are making a website as in like, okay, we'll make a website, that's better. So we'll make a website, and here we will write transaction A to B and 100 rupees. B to C, maybe 500 rupees. Okay? And so on. A to D, let's say 50 rupees, and so on. So whatever this transaction is, we are just gonna note down in this site. Okay? After noting down all these transactions, at the end of month, let's say at the end of the month, we'll tally that how much anybody has to give, or anybody has to give. This application called Splitwise? You must not be knowing. Do you know it? Actually, you don't know. Okay.
No.
So basically, it's an application where some person just send the money and he just divided with the other people. So it's just contribution basically. Whatever the countries, you just have to give it. So that whatever this is, A to B, B to C, A to D. So we are going to form a data of all these things. Okay, this important thing. Okay, data. So this data will be stored in a website or on a page, you can say. And at the end of the day, we'll just verify that how much anybody has to give or take, whatever it is. So that's how the transaction is going to work. Okay, from A to B, B to C, whatever it is. Now, the thing is, what will happen here? The thing, every time whenever we will write A to B, B to C, that time we will broadcast. Another very important term, broadcast. Okay? We are gonna broadcast. That means what? We are gonna say it to everybody that A to B is, so for example, A has given money to B, whatever 500 rupees, he will tell it to everybody, right? If A is giving to B, even B will know, even D will know, even C will know, of course A will know. In that way, you will be comfortable, right? You know all the transactions which are happening, correct? So this thing, of broadcasting and collecting data is what cryptocurrency is doing. Now, so how it works? Now, if I'm saying A to B, A to B, somebody is making transaction. So let's consider A to B, the transaction is happening. Now, what will happen in the internet world? Now, of course, it was 4 people. That's why it was fine. But if I talk about 4 crore people, like, you have to randomly send. A is unknown person, B is unknown person, right? He needs to send money to B, right? So how he will send the money? So he will send this money through digital signature. Now, here is this mathematical topic which we will cover in this thing called digital signature. Now, what will happen in this digital signature? Now, let's say this A is there. So he has to give, 100 rupees to somebody else. Okay. He has to give it to B. Now, he will have SK and PK. So basically, one is secured key and the other one is public key. Okay. Similarly, it's just like this thing. See, public key means what? Your Gmail ID. Supposingly, my Gmail ID is divyankk@gmail.com. And my secured key is nothing but my password. Okay. Which only I know. So that is basically your secured key. Similarly, B will have the same thing. Now, public key is visible to everybody. Now, see, as I told you, broadcasting is very important. Whenever A is sending money to B, everybody should know that. That's why whenever A is sending money to B, he will go through public key. But how he will process? He will process through secured key. Now, the thing is, why this is important? Because let's say somebody wants to hack. Okay, somebody wants to hack this data, or basically somebody wants to just make like, I have made a transaction with A to B, but there will be digital signature. Okay. Now, if he needs to hack this thing, if he needs to hack this data, there comes a very good point about the probability. Probability. So how it will happen? Now, most of the system right now is based on 256-bit security. Now, let's see what is 256-bit. So, do you know what is 256-bit?
Like a form of data storage, like 260 5 bits when you have data on a computer.
Correct, correct. Remember what is bit, bytes, and all those things?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So 256 bit, like basically, of course, now see all the algorithms and everything is worked on this thing 100111 like this, correct? Now 256 bit means what? There are like this. See, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let's say 8. These are 8 elements, right? So it is forming a data with respect to 8 elements. Now imagine 256 bit means what? There are 256 such digits. Now you might feel that it might be easier to crack, right? I mean, maybe it's possible, right? Maybe after 3 days, 4 days, or a month, or something like that, right? It is possible 256 bit. But the thing is, the probability of getting the code is going to be how much? It's gonna be 1 over how many combinations it's gonna be? It's gonna be, okay, you tell me how much it's gonna be. How many possible combination of 256 bit is going to be?
256.
See, if it's a 2 bit, for example, for example, 1 bit, okay, 1 bit, for 1 bit, it's gonna be either 1 or 0, right?
So it'll be based on permutation.
No, probability, not permutation. Okay, permutation, of course, all the combinations. But if it is a 2 bit, let's say 2 bit means what? It could be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, right? So how many combinations are there?
4.
4. If it's a 3 bit, it's going to be what? It's going 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and so on. How many are there? You must have done this thing in computers.
9.
8. 8 are there. Now, just imagine for 1 bit there are 2. For 2 bit there are 4. For 3 bit there are 8. For 4 bit it's going to be how much?
12.
Think about it. Arey, simple mathematics. 2 bit 4. I can write this thing as 2 square.
It'll be
So that'll be 16.
Correct. This is going to be 2 to the power of 3. For 4 bit, it's going to be 2 to the power of 4. For 5 bit, it's going to be 2 to the power of 5, and so on, right? So if you see, for, of course, remember that example I've given you in class, right? Double the money. If you have today 1 rupee, tomorrow 2 rupees, then 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. At the end of 30 days, you will have more than 100 crore, I guess. That was the value we got. Now think about it. For 2 to the power of 30 around, we will get 100 crore. Think about it. How much is 2 to the power of 256? It's more than, it's a huge number. You can't even write that number. I can't even express how huge that number is. It's more than zillion, trillion, whatever you can imagine. So it's more than that. So the probability of cracking that code is 1 upon 2 to the power of 256. Now, this is very important. This concept of 2 to the power of 256, where we are using probability, is very important, because if anybody wants to crack the code, he'll have to go through all these combinations, which will take around, even if every second they are making, 10,000, because right now there are very fast processors. So every second, let's say 1,000, 10,000, right? That's what combination is there. For 2 to the power of 256, it will take thousands of years just to make one transaction, just to crack one thing. So it will take thousands of years. So you can say that it's impossible to crack, basically, by guessing. Now, of course, if they have other things, that I don't know. But right now, you can see that there are so many combinations and the probability is very less. Okay. So basically, the thing is, here, even if you know public key, the secured key will take care of it. Okay, so whenever you are transferring data, it will go through digital signature, which will process, and B will get the money. Now, on your WhatsApp, you must have seen that thing, right? End-to-end encryption. Right? End-to-end encrypt.
Yes.
Correct. So what do you mean by that? So Ishan, you tell me. What do you mean by end-to-end encrypt? So what does that mean?
I think it'll be something where only the people who are involved in not the trading, but the exchange need of money will know what's happening.
No, I'm talking about WhatsApp. Forget money. I'm talking about WhatsApp.
Yeah, so only the users will be able to see their messages.
Exactly.
That
So
right?
basically, if I'm sending you a message, only I can see that, only you can see that. So basically, it's encrypt and decrypt. So this I have mentioned encrypt and decrypt. That means what? So whenever am sending this message, hi, let's say, okay, what will happen? Now, here, this will be encrypted. Now, did you watch any movie like, what was that movie? Alan Turing ka? Uh, I don't remember that movie. Um, Acha, remember that movie, Benedict Cumberbatch's movie?
Are you talking about the one?
Huh? Based on Alan Turing. For the World War, he made
Yeah,
that
the
machine.
mathematic code, right? The Enigma. Yeah,
No, no,
I
no,
know
no.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. Acha, forget it. Did you watch this movie, Alia Bhatt Razi?
Yeah.
No.
Huh? Acha,
Yeah,
no.
I've seen that.
Acha, do you know about this thing called Morse code?
Yeah, I've heard of Morse code.
So
So
see, let's see. So in that movie Razi, what happened? Alia Bhatt used to send messages to India, but using this thing, tuck 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 tuck, like this, like this, whatever. So
So
this is,
the messages were basically coded.
yes. So that is known as your encryption. So the message was coded. So here, if I'm sending hi, it will be in the form of a matrix. You can say, the data is going to be like the 0 1 2 3 1 1 4 0 1, something like that. Okay, so this is the data. Now of course, now once you get this thing, this high, whatever is this thing, so until and unless you don't know how to decrypt that thing, so there will be this function which will decrypt it. Okay, the function is going to be, the matrix is going to be somewhat else. Let's say this is matrix A, this is matrix B, and at the receiver end we will get AB. Okay, but until and unless you don't know what is B inverse or the decrypt, basically you know how to encrypt, but on the other end, if you know how to decrypt, like if I'm receiving AB, I'll have to multiply by B inverse to get that message A. So as you can see, A, what is happening, this is the message A, and we will multiply by B. That is basically your encryption. And then whatever this is AB, it is passing through internet. Even if somebody hacks it, he won't have B inverse. But who has this B inverse? Ishan has the B inverse, which I sent, just message. So Ishan has that B inverse at his receiver's end. And when I multiply that thing, I'm getting this message A. So this is how encryption and decryption work. But in case of bitcoins or in case of cryptocurrencies, what happens if there is a transaction of A to B? It's irreversible transaction. That means what? If you sent 10 bitcoins, for example, to B, it cannot be reversed. Here you can reverse, in end-to-end encryption you can, because what you need to know B inverse, you need to know B, that's it. If you know this thing, you can do it. But here, if you talk about this thing in the cryptocurrency technology, if somebody is transferring A to B, and if he transfers 10 bitcoin, he cannot reverse that thing. Now that is one of the issues with bitcoins, though it's a rare instance, but this can happen. Now see, for example, if you put a account number, right, if you want to transfer money, if you put an account number and you do it, the thing is, by mistakenly, if you just wrote a different number, then it will go to somebody else's account, right? But the bank knows it, that's why he can reverse the transaction. So that's not a problem. But in this case, this doesn't happen. Once you throw the money, once you do the transaction, that's it, right? You cannot go back to that thing. That's the beauty about that's not the beauty, that's actually the problem with the Bitcoin. Okay, now, so this is all your encryption and decryption data. Now, how they store the function. So basically we covered this thing called 256 bit function. So there we use probability. For encryption and decryption, we use matrices. Now we are going to talk about, acha, any doubt about this thing?
No.
Acha, did you understand anything?
yeah,
No.
I'm understanding it.
Sort of interesting or not?
Yes.
Something, new. Acha, you don't know about the banking system, so how you will know about all these things? But you're getting it, right? I mean, are you understanding the technology behind it? Now,
Yes.
here comes the main part, which is known as the blockchain technology. Amazing technology. Now, what is this blockchain technology? So, as we know that we took the example of this ABCD, right? ABCD are the people, like this, whatever they are doing the transaction and all, everything is fine. Now, the thing is, we were noting down the data, right? What is happening? A is sending to B, B is sending to C, C is sending to D, and so on, right? That's what which was happening. Now, the thing is, if this is happening, we are storing it, right? We are storing this data here. And these data will be stored in one block. Okay? Whatever the data is, whatever the transactions are, those are going to be stored in a block, whatever the block is. Okay? And that will be one specified property. As I told you, you cannot reverse the transaction in Bitcoins. So whenever you form a block, that's it. You cannot change the block. First thing is clear that you cannot change the block. Whatever you're writing, that's it, done. Okay? Of course, the thing is, whenever you put up a thing, it depends on the digital signatures and how you broadcast. People have to verify and they have to put it in the block. Like, see, right now we are dealing with 4 people, that is fine. But if there are 4 crore people, so let's say A is doing transaction with B. So what will happen? That data will be stored by somebody. And that somebody is nothing but a miner. Another good term known as miner. Now, what do you mean by miner? So, gold mining. So the person who is mining the gold is known as miner, right? So here also, the person who is helping to verify the data, whatever is happening from A to B, that person is known as miner. Okay? What he is doing, like, see, when you're digging the gold, what you're doing, you're, maybe you're digging the gold and you're getting it, then, all the processes and all. So he's doing that much amount of work, right? But what miner is doing? Miner is giving storage space or the electricity basically. Basically, he's just giving you the space, maybe 1 TB, 10 TB, whatever it is going to be. So he's giving you storage, okay? And whatever that storage is, he will get reward for that thing. That will come back to it later, okay? Right now, just understand, this is what one block is, the set of transactions. There are 2,400 transactions in one block. There are 2,400 transactions in one block. Okay. The moment 2,400 transactions are done, what will happen? It will generate a key. Again, a key. This is not with respect to a secured key or public key or anything. No, it's not going to be like that. It's just a key known as hash key. A very important term known as hash key. So it's the name is what? Cryptographic hash function. So that hash function is a very complicated concept. It's based on this thing only, 2 to the power of 256 only. So it's the same thing. We are not going to get into the detail about it. But the thing is, this is known as hash key or any key function. Now, this hash key is important. And before that, he will have what? So let's assume that there are many blocks, okay, like this, with 2,400 transactions. Now, in every block, what will happen? They will make a hash key after completing the transactions. Okay? And if somebody else want to put it his own block, right? So, for example, Dia is mining some 2,400 transactions. Ishan is mining another 2,400 transactions. Okay? But the thing is, what will happen? These are the transactions which are happening at Dia's block. Okay? And this is at Ishan's block. Now, the thing is, Dia is done with those 2,400 transactions. Now, what she will do, she'll create a hash key, a unique key. Again, encryption, decryption, total secured network. That hash key will be given to Ishan, and he won't get it directly. He'll have to mine through it. Whatever the transactions are, he have to get through it, and whatever this hash key Dia made it, Ishan will get that hash key, and he will verify that, he has, everybody will verify that he has the correct hash key. And from there, another 2,400 transactions will come. After that, again, Daksh will make another his block. If he has the previous hash key, then he can proceed. And the best thing is, this hash key is based on the computational work. Hash key is nothing but a complex mathematical problem. Like, of course we can, it's not like going to be linear equation or something like that. It's going to be a very complex math problem which will be solved by various miners across the world. Like you can imagine 1 lakh, 10 lakh people are mining. That means what they are doing? They are just doing the computational work. They are solving this complex math problem. Okay, so Dia is done with this block. Now the thing is, Ishan, Daksh, everybody is mining. Supposingly they cracked the code. They got this hash key through probability. Then they will get the permission to create a new block. So Ishan will get a permission to create a new block and he will do the work. And after that, he will create his hash key and he's done. After creating every block, after creating every transaction block, what will happen? They will get reward after completing every block. And what they will get? They will get bitcoins. That's how they will generate more bitcoins. So right now there are not all the bitcoins. Like it's not like, you know, all the money is here, you are distributing. No, it's not like that. They are generating bitcoins. And this is a complete whole procedure which is happening. So first of all, tell me any doubt about this thing, blockchain? And
So
please.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So then how does Bitcoin become more valuable as more people find out the hash keys? So how does it increase in value?
Exactly. So the increase in value is dependent on more transactions. Like see, the thing is, as you can see, the land rates and the flat and all those thing rates increases eventually. Why this is happening? It's because you know, the transactions are becoming more. The more the transaction you are dealing with right now, see, if you are going for a dinner or if you are going for any dinner or something like that, then what is happening? We are paying money to the restaurant. If I give money in terms of bitcoins, if I give in terms of let's say I'll teach your you know, I'll teach your kid, you know, that can also work. You give me a free dinner every Sunday, right? So the thing is, here I'm exchanging knowledge, but here the value increases the more people are going to transact through it. Now what is happening right now? People are using bitcoins as an investment. But in future, what will happen? Because if everybody will be in favor of this technology, then what will happen? You can use bitcoins for any transaction you want to. Like you can purchase a car out of it. In US, there are restaurants which accept bitcoins. So it's just a start, maybe. The best part about Bitcoin is that you know, if I want to transfer, like for example, if I want to transfer rupees to dollars in US, so right now it takes, you know, 48 hours or something like that. You know, you have to convert, then foreign exchange rates, this rate, that rate, everything, and then you have to go through it. But if I have a Bitcoin, I can transfer in 10 minutes. That's, so it's basically a centralized currency for everything. Right now dollars, euros and pounds and everything is there, but here it's a one currency for everything. Okay, so that's how, you know, yeah, so value increases with more transaction. And the uniqueness about this Bitcoin is it is not just readily available. You have to mine it, you have to dig it through it. Now for that thing, I'll just tell you one thing, that in every 10 minutes one block is produced. One sec, I'll just verify. Yeah, in 10 minutes one block is made. And after making that one block, what will happen? The miner will get the bitcoins. Now in 2008 the bitcoin mining started. So that time for one block they used to get 50 bitcoins. Okay, it's a huge number. One bitcoin is around 46 lakhs, right, Daksh? Right, 46, 47 lakhs.
46 lakhs.
So 50 bitcoins for one block. Okay, but what happens? In every 10 minute only one block will be there, and after every 210,000, like 210,000 blocks, you won't get 50 bitcoins, but it will be half. So it's going to be 25 bitcoins. After next 4 years, or basically this 210,000 blocks will be produced in 4 years. So every 4 years, the whatever you mine, you will get less. So the later you are, you will get less. So it's such a it's such an algorithm. It's a very beautiful algorithm. The thing is, as you can see, as compared to 2008's technology and 2020 technology, there is a huge gap, right? Of course, I think in 2008 iPhone was there, only the first series was there, right? The first touch screen phone.
Yes.
And today we have better camera than a DSLR in a phone. So you can see the technology is increasing, like it's rapidly increasing. But the thing is, the more it is increasing, the value of the Bitcoin is getting, the value what you will get back, that's going to be lesser and lesser and lesser. So in short, after 4 years again, it's going to be 12.5 BTC. But I think so right now, yeah, it's 6.25 BTC for every block. Okay, for every block, it has to be 6.25 BTC you will get. Okay, but the thing is, right now the miners are also more. Previously, there were not many miners, but right now there are so many that you can't even imagine. And then the thing is, it's just a lottery system. The person who gets the hash key gets to put the put the ledger, put the transaction basically, and after that he will generate the hash key, and after that again it's gonna be a luck. So somebody who will be lucky, he will get that block. And the thing is, these blocks will be connected in a series. This is first block, this is second block, this is third block, and so on. And it will be connected in a sequential pattern basically. Okay, and you can only add block if you have a previous hash key. So even let's assume that you want to forge a block, like basically you just want to put another block in between. Let's see. So let's assume that A wants to put a block here. Like let's say one transaction is there, A to B, 10 bitcoins ka, and he need to put it there in this block, in middle. Okay, there are many blocks, and he just need to do it. So what will happen? So let's assume that he does that thing, and he creates one block. First of all, let's assume that he gets the hash key. To create a block, you need to get a hash key, right? So he gets the block and he gets the hash key. That is also a huge chance of getting that hash key. But once you get that hash key, you create a fake transaction A to B. Okay, this transaction. So basically you're doing those transactions, you are doing those transactions, and so on. The thing is, to do that, he has to continue. Now see, he has to continue this thing, and he needs to make a new block as well. After he's done, he'll create another new hash key, and he will use that to create one more block. Now during this time, what will happen? There are many people, he's not the only miner. There are many miners who can get this hash key, right? And if they get it, then what will happen? They will start mining. Okay, they will start making blocks, and after that another miner will come and he will start making blocks. The thing is, when he will create one block, one external block, because it will take time. He has a computer. Oh no, chalo theek hai. Let's assume he has a very huge system, where he's doing a lot of performance, the probabilities and all. The thing is, he created one block. After that, again he creates another block. But when he creates another block, at that time, till that time, these other people combine will make so many blocks during that time, right? Because they have a lot of computational process, right? And if that will happen, then the blockchain technology in such a way that they will always choose the longest chain, whichever is going to be the longest chain. That's why, for verification purposes, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to verify the transaction. Because the thing is, it's simple. Whenever the transaction is happening, so the transaction will be made. Again, the transaction will be made. Then it will be noted. It will be noted by the miner. Okay. Then he will broadcast. Now this is very important. He will broadcast. And once he broadcast, that means what? He will have to give it to everybody. Like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And everybody, every miner, every other miner will verify. Miners will verify. And once they verify, that time that block will be added. So the thing is, it's all a game of probability and all these things. In fact, if he even does that, he will, like, if he needs to, make more blocks and so on, so he will require 51% of the whole computation, you know computational speed which is happening throughout. And 51% is huge computational work which is going around, because now and then, like, you can even mine through your computer. That's not a problem. So there are many computers who are mining right now. But the thing is, if somebody wants to forge, he needs to have 51% of the whole, like, slightly more than rest of the people combined. Now the fact is, if by chance Google tries to do that, Google has the largest server in the world, right? Google has it. If Google wants to do that, so Google servers are actually 1/1000th of whatever mining is happening. Google servers. So you can imagine the data is. So basically, it's I guess 0.1%. Yes. So Google server is just 0.1%. So even if Google wants to try it, he needs to do a lot of work for this thing. So that's how secure this blockchain technology is. Okay. Again, now any doubt?
Sir, I don't understand how the miners get the hash key. Like, is it only based on their luck, or do they have to do something else?
So see, the thing is, what they do is, like, they try to solve a problem. The problem is, it's based on it's a 256 bit, right? First of all, the security is 256 bit. So let's say one block is there, okay, and he generated a hash key, and let's say it starts with 30 zeros, okay? It starts with 30 zeros,
Yeah.
okay? Now he knows that thing, it starts with 30 zeros, okay? Now the new person who is going to use that hash key, he'll have, so this is just a problem. So this miner will just give a problem, like, this is a problem that there are 30 zeros in the hash key, and that will be processed by lakhs of miners, and they will do different, like, the same problem they are doing, but different computational speed, and it's probability. So maybe they will start with 1000, the other one will start with 1 crore, like this, all these things, transaction will happen, okay? But one lucky person, so it's just like a lottery system, one lucky person will be able to crack that thing. Once he gets that thing, he gets the block. But there may be probability that, at a time, two people will get the block, right? Two people will get at the same time, which is rare. But still, if two of the people crack the same hash key at once, then what will happen? Then the person with the longest chain, like the person, so he's making a block, he has made a previous block and so on, right? So the person who has created more blocks will get the priority. So even that system is okay. Okay. So that's how blockchain. Any other doubt with respect to blockchain?
Understood. Understood.
Daksh, Achha, let's see what's happening in chat. Okay. Imitation Game. Okay, yeah. The movie name was Imitation Game. Okay. Enlighten. That's what I did. Mining. Okay, fine. Value increasing depending upon demand and supply. Correct. See, the thing is, demand and supply. So right now there is too much demand on Bitcoin, like, all these currencies. But after 2020, I think 2,000 new currencies came. 2,000 new currencies came because of this thing. It's all cryptocurrency because maybe it's a future. No financial institution involved in the transaction of cryptocurrency. No regulatory bodies. Correct. Only drawback, you cannot trace if any fraud happens or you have mistakenly sent money to other account. Yes. Yeah, I covered that. Not get back, 0% chance. Correct. So that's what I have explained, that when you do the transaction, it's irreversible. That's what we have done. Like, you cannot reverse the transaction. Once it is done, it is done. Now, this is how Bitcoin is going to happen. Now, the thing is, as you can see, one more thing, 6.25 Bitcoin you are getting, right? 6.25 Bitcoin right now. After that, it will be lesser, 3.125 and so on. It will go lesser like that. Correct? So with, of course, with geometric progression, it will have a limit, and the limit is going to be how much? It's going to be 21 million. So there will be only 21 million bitcoins that's going to be present throughout. So the thing is, at the end of the day, what will happen? At the end of the day, once this Bitcoin is done, 21 million, everybody mined, everybody has there in their pocket. Now, what will happen? Till that time, when the all the transaction will be persisted. So if you want to give one transaction, now how people will make money if they have Bitcoin? So they are just or the miners are going to make money after that. So when they are transacting, A to B, and they are making blocks, but they are not gonna get money, right? A to B, whatever the transaction is. Right now, they make a block, they get the money. But after that, when it is over, what will happen? So if somebody is transferring A to B, then what will happen? They will charge a transaction fee, very small transaction fee for this thing. So the miners will put all the data at the end. The ledger will be there. The data will be put. That's not a problem. But the thing is, when they will transfer now next time, right now it's free. But when they transfer next time from A to B or B to C, they will hardly charge, a small amount. Right now also, whenever you swipe a credit card or something, restaurant has to pay 1% or 2%. Visa, MasterCard, everything. These companies are making money through that only. Right? So they have to give 1%, 2% to the restaurant. I mean, restaurant has to give 1%, 2% to them as a transaction fee. So maybe they will charge like that. That's going to be the thing. Okay. Now, yeah, so there are going to be only 21 million bitcoins right now. Okay. So now, the conclusion, yeah, you guys tell me first. What do you think about this Bitcoin? Tell me. Or the cryptocurrency. So we'll start with Daksh. Yeah, tell me. What do you think about this thing now?
It's pretty, like, at the point it's even risky as well. But sir, now I've heard that India is not letting bitcoins come in. Like they're kind of banning it from every place. So
Not really. Like it was like there was this news coming up that there was this news that they may ban bitcoins and all. So in, I guess, last year only, in March they got the approval that you can convert the money and all. The thing is why? Because what Bitcoin people, like those people who were in support of Bitcoin, what they did, they said that even if you are transacting through credit card or debit card, or in fact net banking, whatever you are transacting right now, you are doing through computer, you are doing through this thing only, 256-bit encryption basically. That's what you are doing. But here bitcoins is safer because it's based on blockchain technology, right? Because of this system, like whatever this system is, like everything is written, so it's more secure than this 256-bit debit card, credit card, and everything. So that's why they won the case. So right now it's legal right now, like you can transact, because right now there are apps you can get it where you can invest and all. So yeah. Okay, Daksh. Dia, you tell me, what do you think about bitcoins and cryptocurrencies?
I mean, for the minors, because you also compare it to a lottery, I think it just depends on their luck. And especially since it's irreversible, even like a small mistake, so it can go wrong, even if you make a very small mistake.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think, like overall, will you adapt this technology? Now, see, you guys are young, so since you just got through it, so I just want to know whether, like, not as an investment, but will you use it?
It seems way more convenient because, like, you don't really have to carry anything, and it seems very safe because of the 256-bit technology and stuff you explained. So maybe.
Ishan, what is your take on this thing?
I think it's a good method of transaction because it's way more safer. Like you can't get it's more realistic to use in the future because as technology advances, the use of physical money is gonna decrease by a lot. So uh,
Okay.
automatically, the use of cryptocurrency will be more freely available everywhere. So I think it will be used way more in the future.
Okay, so this is a good point and all this thing. Now, what do you think? Like, what could be the harm in this technology? Like, Can you think about it? Of course, I know, but can you tell me what could be like, obviously everything has its ups and downs, like, everything has some good things, some bad things. So, what do you think could be the worst thing here?
Mm, I mean, it's because it's not regulated by an official government,
Good, huh?
so that could be like a risk that's there.
That's the correct point. But how it could be risky with respect to that?
I don't know how to frame it, to be
Daksh,
honest.
Diya?
Because I think like it's probably not there's no record of it or it's not authorized by someone. So
Yeah, exactly. The authorization is not there. Like basically, the central government is not there. The bank is not there. Nobody's going to watch it. So what could be the like what could be the
So there's
drawback
no
of that
third
thing?
party.
Huh?
There's no third party to verify, like an official third party to verify.
there's no supervision of
Huh? But
any.
like, what could happen then?
Mm,
Think about it with respect to nations. India. Think about it. Another nation, something like that. What could happen? Okay, okay, I'll make it simple. The thing is, what can happen? So, right now, also, there is this thing called dark web. So, in that, you can buy weapons as well. In exchange, you cannot go right now and just give you 10,000 and give me one gun. No, you cannot get that, right? Right now, you can purchase weapons online. That's the worst part. Weapons and all these illegal things, whatever it is. So, the thing is, even for example, uh, let's say there is one terrorist group and they are from another country and they just want to sell like somebody here wants to buy the weapon. So what they can do, they can simply transact through bitcoins instead of transacting through gold or any other thing, right? So that's the worst thing about it, because yes, exactly, the centralized authorization is not there. So it's not really there. But because of that, people can just buy and sell all the things. So of course there are drawbacks and there are good things as well about it. So we have to see how we can regulate and all. But yes, so tell me, how was any other doubts?
oh, all good.
No.
Dhruv commented that's correct, sir, because it's not really authorized. It could be banned because it's widely used for illegal activities like on the dark web. Okay, so there is one of my friends. He said that value of rupee will decrease if people started buying more and more cryptocurrency. That's a very good point.
Yeah, inflation will occur.
Yes, the thing is, like people, if they transact through cryptocurrencies, the value of rupee or dollars, in fact, for that matter, it will decrease. So the thing is, how will government make money then, if people are going to just do it by themselves? So in a way, it's a good thing. In a way, it's a very bad thing as well. So that could also happen. So okay, so yeah, any doubt now? Diya, Daksh, Ishan. Okay,
No.
fine. Did you understand anything?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
No, this was my first stream, of course. So you tell me, like, how was it? I mean, how was it? As in, like, did you understand? I mean, thoda bahut jo bhi hai.
Yeah, I understood like the outline of everything.
Haan.
What you explained. The obviously I understood the benefits and risks as well, and why it's important, and mainly how mathematics is applied.
So see,
Yeah, I understood the basics of it.
see, at the end of the day, it's all about mathematics. That's why I ask you guys to, yeah, concentrate on mathematics.
Even to be basic robbery, read mathematics and problem.
Yeah, right now you're just understanding the basics of it. Matrices, like, all these complex equations I can give you, but right now you're just solving parabolas and all. But if you see in detail, everywhere it's all about mathematics. So yeah, yeah, this video is sponsored by mathematics, I guess. That's gonna be the case. Okay. So yeah, everyone, thanks for coming. And how should I end the stream? I don't know.
So you're being
Thank you
a
for
problem.
watching the stream.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.
Yeah, please subscribe my channel, and if you like it,
And follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, Diya, please. Yeah, you guys tell me every time I say everything. So yeah, please, something you should tell.
Division math.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do that. Okay. So, anyways, thank you guys. I'll have to end the stream. I hope you liked it. Okay. So I'll see you next time. Yeah, yeah. You guys, I'll see you in batch. Okay. Okay. Chalo. See you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.